Welcome to the Anchor Your Retirement podcast. I'm your host, Barbara Gullen, in the studio today remotely with my usual buddy and pal sidekick, Tony Shore. How you doing, Tony?
Oh, Barb, I am fantastic. I'm excited to be here. I mean, it's a big week. You've got a lot going on, I
Just a
know.
few things, yeah.
Just just one or two. You've got big things going on in your personal life too, and so
Yes.
good things. And
Going
that's
from Miss to Mrs. again.
wow. And congratulations. We'll have to talk about that on our next show once it's
Maybe.
actually happened. Maybe.
Yes. Well, there's not a whole lot of money talk about it other than this is a glorified elopement and we're doing it in a very financially prudent manner. I'll put it that way.
This reminds me of my dumb bad joke. Every time we're at the grocery store, and my wife and kids always love melons, and I'm
Mhm.
like, let's get a cantaloupe, and I like, we can't elope. just what I say. We can't elope.
No, this is a glorified elopement. I mean, the only thing that we're spending any significant money on is a good photographer so
Yeah,
that we have somebody else capturing the memories. But
yeah,
other than that, it is a very small, intimate ceremony with just our families.
yeah. That's neat. But I mean, our listeners should know Barb is dedicated to the show and to her business and to your finances because we're recording this on a Friday. Her wedding is tomorrow. You may be the only person to record a show the day before your wedding.
No, I think it just speaks to how well organized everything is
You are an organized person.
and how seriously we're not it's we both had the big weddings the first time around and
Yeah,
it's literally just us and our kids.
yeah.
So,
That's good. That's good. My
there's not
son
a
had
whole
it
lot to
that
worry
way. He
about.
just had they just each had their parents
Yeah.
and their
And
grandparents. That was it. That was it. And
and
they
I
loved that. So,
and it's we'll have the party later on. You
yeah,
know that.
I'll be there.
But yes, you will be. We might actually get to record a podcast live and in person in my office, and
Yes.
we'll be in our new offices in Corporate Woods. Then
Oh yeah, you're
I'm so
moving
excited.
offices too. Just
Yeah,
by the way, so much going on,
yeah.
Barb. That's fantastic. And now I don't know how we segue from you moving
Well,
offices and getting married to
let's.
misconceptions
We're
about
moving
federal.
into next chapters, and with
Okay,
federal employees, that next chapter in retirement. I have been working with federal employees for over 15 years at this point. And I cut you off. I'm so sorry.
no,
I was talking to my sister this morning. It's kind of like watching Ricochet Rabbit in a jar, is what my brain looks like today. Um, and I just dated myself by referencing Ricochet Rabbit, didn't I? Um,
yeah, you really did.
bing, bing, bing. Um, there are so many misconceptions about your federal pension that I thought we would take a little bit of time today and dedicate to clearing some of those up, because I have been talking to so many people lately that don't understand. The first one we're going to talk about is meeting those criteria for an unreduced pension. For those of you who are in federal service, you get an unreduced pension if you are minimum retirement age, which for most people listening is going to be around age 57,
Sure,
between 56 and 57,
right.
with 30 years of service,
Hmm.
age 60 with 20 years of service, or age 62 with 5 years of service.
Wow.
I end up talking to a lot of people that think that by buying back their military time, that bought back time, or their unused sick leave, both of which get credited toward your pension, count toward that service time to reach those milestones. It does not. So I talked to a lady
Interesting.
last week who is minimum retirement age, MRA, and has over 22 years of civil service work, civilian work,
Yep.
and bought back or needs to buy back 13 years of military time,
Mhm.
and thought that once she bought back those 13 years, she'd be able to retire. Can she retire? Yes. But she's going to fall under the MRA and 10 rule, which is another rule for federal employees
Okay.
with their pension. If you are at least minimum retirement age and you have at least 10 years of federal service, you can retire. However, they are going to permanently reduce your pension by 5% per year of service that you are missing to reach one of those milestones. So if you have 10 years of service and your minimum retirement age, going back to the criteria we just talked about, you would need to be at least age 62 to retire with an unreduced pension.
Sure.
If you retire at 57 with 10 years, you are 5 years short of that age 62 milestone. So we multiply 5 years by 5%, they're going to permanently reduce your pension by 25%.
Yikes.
Not
That's
a
all
good
I can
thing.
say. I don't know
Not a
what to
good
say to
thing.
that. That is so you really, if you don't know what you're doing, you could really get
Mess
into
it
a
up.
bad situation. I
You
mean,
could.
and I think people, it sounds like people have misconceptions about the buying back
Mhm.
time, right?
Right.
To qualify, and messing up, not understanding all the rules and ins and outs of the pension.
Right. I mean, a good rule of thumb to get a quick estimate of your pension is you take your years of credited service, 17 years, 17%, 22 years, 22%, 30 years, 30%. Your pension is going to be your years of service converted to a percentage of your high three salary. Your high three salary is your 36 consecutive months of highest compensation, not necessarily your last 36 months of compensation. That's another misconception. For example, if you were working in an area that had one of the higher locality pay adjustments, like San Francisco or Houston or DC, because that locality adjustment takes into account the cost of living where you are geographically. We can all agree it's going to cost you a little bit more to live in San Francisco than it is in Des Moines. Am I
No
right?
doubt. Or even than in Kansas City.
Or even in Kansas
Yeah.
City.
Yeah.
If you worked there and then you relocate to an area with a lower locality like Kansas City or Des Moines or South Dakota, and you finish out your tenure or your service time in one of those areas, when they calculate your pension, they're not going to look at those last 3 years. They're going to look at the time when you were working in San Francisco or in Houston, because you're going to have a higher locality adjustment. Now, obviously, if you take a promotion and you're moving to a lower locality area, it might all equal out. Okay.
Yeah.
When I'm giving this example, we're thinking apples to apples comparison. If you're a social worker in San Francisco, you are getting a higher adjusted basic pay than a social worker in Kansas City.
Yeah.
So, again, when we're looking at those milestones and we're looking at those pension calculations, we're, as an advisor and as a fiduciary, and by the way, if you have questions about this, go to our website, bgwealthmanagement.com, and request a complimentary no-cost consultation, or you can do it the old-fashioned way and call us at area code 913-553-6222 and select option 4 from the automatic attendant there to schedule one of these consultations. We will sit down with you and go through all of this and help you get a pretty good estimate of your pension. Most of the time when I'm getting accurate information, I'm within about $50 or $60 of what OPM comes up with a pension calc, because I've been doing this for a while.
Yeah. I think that's really that's important, and it's. I don't know how the average federal employee or just any federal employee can figure all this out on their own, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot of guidance
There
within
are
the
so
system.
many moving parts to it, and OPM doesn't have the infrastructure, even though they mandate every year that federal employees have an opportunity to be trained on their benefits and how they work. They don't have the staffing and the infrastructure to roll that out. We have had a tremendous amount of turnover and reduction in force in OPM and in human resources departments in agencies across the board.
Yeah.
So when you consider that the OPM manual is thousands of pages and multiple volumes, it is unrealistic and irrational to expect somebody to understand all of the nuances and how all of it works.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
there are certain unions within the air traffic controller system, or within the FAA, actually, not the air traffic controllers, where they have an option of buying out some of their sick leave on the way out the door and not having it count toward their credited service time. That union negotiated that perk. That is not something that's standard across the board.
Yeah.
Um,
That's interesting. So, yeah, it's hard for me to grasp why does the federal government have to complicate everything to the nth degree? I mean, is
well,
it
it
like in
justifies their existence.
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, just think about how many fewer people we would need working for the IRS if we had a flat tax system or something like that.
Well,
But we're
sure.
getting
Yeah.
off the subject here.
Yeah, I know. I
Um,
got that's what I'm here
so,
for, Barb, is
you
to
know,
just steer us off.
so if you are minimum retirement age and have at least those 10 years of service, you can retire, but you will be costing yourself a lot of money down the road.
Mm.
Yeah, another thing that I run into is people who are like 61 and they hit that 20-year mark and they decide that they want to retire and they don't realize that they're leaving money on the table. Because yes, you have your 20 years in. Yes, you're at least 60 years old. But there's another perk to your pension that happens when you are 62 and have at least 20 years of service.
Ah.
And
So those just 2 more years might help more.
2 more years might help, or my goodness, if you're 61 years old, we're talking less than a year,
Yeah.
where instead of them calculating your pension at 1%, they're going to calculate it at 1.1% for every year of credited service time. So you're giving yourself a permanent 10% raise for
Wow.
putting in a
That
few more
adds
months
up.
of work. It does. It
Wow.
does.
Yeah.
And when I am talking about these pension calculations, I am not talking about the special provisions if you're an air traffic controller or if you are law enforcement and carry a gun or if you are a firefighter. You have a whole different set of pension calculations
Right.
that go your way. So, working with somebody and looking at the bigger picture of all of it if you want to know why I'm so passionate about this, go back and listen to the first episode of this podcast that we ever recorded. We were just talking about that before we went on air.
Yes, we were.
I tell my dad's story where he got the wrong advice and it ended up costing him dearly.
Mm.
But because I'm not going to tell you what all it cost him, I want you to go listen to that podcast episode. And you can see how far we've come. Now, it's not on
Yes.
YouTube because we did not video that one. We did that one. That
Oh.
one is strictly audio. So
Yeah.
you're going to have to go out to your favorite podcast streaming platform and pull it up there because all of our episodes are archived on Amazon Music, Amazon Podcasts, whatever that's called, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, probably a couple of other ones I'm not thinking of. It'll be out there and you can hear my story, my dad's story, and why I am so passionate about making sure that you understand what you're doing before you're doing it.
Right. You know, we should redo that whole show. You and I, you should tell that story again, and we'll have to do a show so we have it on video so the
We
YouTube
should.
viewers. Yeah.
We should. Maybe we'll do we could do that next week when I come back from my honeymoon, so I don't have to worry about show prep.
There you go. I think that's a great idea. Look at
But
that. We're doing show prep right here on the show
there
for
we
next
go,
week.
live and in person. You get to look behind the green
Yeah.
curtain. Even more so appropriate since I'm coming to you from Kansas, Toto.
Yes.
But understanding how all of your benefits work, understanding why you want to buy back your military time, understanding that you have to buy back that military time before you separate from service or it doesn't count. All of these important things. It's crucial as a federal employee. Many of you are taking a pay cut to work in federal service compared to what you could be making in the private sector. That pay cut comes because you are getting the benefit of this pension. And as a fiduciary, I want to make sure that you make the most of that. And in fact, this is going to be airing mid-July, right? Mid to later part of July. Yeah. And in August, we are going to be in the Kansas City area actually hosting a live training event to learn about your federal benefits. So if you are in the Kansas City area, I invite you to call our offices at area code 913-553-6222. And again, hit that option 4 and tell Christina that you want to register for the upcoming federal benefits training. And for those of you that are watching on video and you're wondering what I'm doing, I am pulling up those dates on my phone so that I pull up the correct dates and tell you the right thing.
Yeah.
They are going to be Tuesday, August 11th and Wednesday, August 12th at the Merriam Community Center in Merriam, Kansas, right off of Interstate 35 and Shawnee Mission Parkway. Those events, I believe, start at either 5 or 5:30 in the evening. Christina can tell you when she calls. When you call her, a lot of federal employees get off of work between 4 and 4:30. So we try to schedule them so that you miss a little bit of rush hour. And because we are meeting with you over the dinner hour, we're going to have pizza and some soft drinks there, or maybe some sandwiches there for you so that you don't have to come hungry and you don't have to worry about you can come hungry. You don't have to worry about getting something to eat on the way. Sure. But that's why we're asking you to register so that we have a head count for food.
Sounds great.
And, other than that, there's no cost, no obligation.
And when is that again?
It's going to be August 11th and August 12th of 2026. Yeah. If you're hearing it on the podcast, you need to call our offices to register, 913-553-6222, or you can email us at info@bgwealthmanagement.com. But it's easier if you call because we have to collect some information from you, especially if you are within 5 to 10 years of retirement. You need to come sit in on this training and make sure that you understand how all of this works.
Yeah. And it's not, and people should not view this isn't a sales thing.
No.
You're not going to be sold anything. This is an educational event.
Right. I'm not allowed to sell anything. Not that that's really how I roll anyway. Right. But, and especially if you're a postal worker, there is some speculation that there's going to be another reduction in force where they offer you a chunk of money to go out the door. If you are near retirement and considering retirement, it might be worth it to time it and walk out the door with a little extra money in your pocket that you wouldn't get by just filing the retirement paperwork. If you become part of the early out or the reduction in force, you could end up with a little extra money, which never hurts.
Oh yeah, and you don't want to make costly mistakes. You want to keep more money in your pocket,
right? And we want to make sure that those resources are working for you.
Yes,
a lot of people who aren't given proper information when they start working as a federal employee, get confused, and they think that their TSP, their thrift savings plan, is their pension. They're two separate things.
Yeah.
And in the training, we go over that. We talk about buying back your military time. We talk about how your benefits work in retirement and what happens to your health insurance. What happens to Medicare? Do you need to elect Medicare Part B? All of those things we're going to cover. It'll take us about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes, depending on how many questions we get, but is something that I strongly, strongly encourage you as a federal employee to register for this event. We do have limited capacity.
Yeah,
So,
it'll fill up. So,
you know,
yeah, you
so
wanna
we want to make sure that you call and register and that we've got a seat for you.
yeah.
If we end up with an excessive amount of registrations, we may end up adding a night to it or
Sure.
adding a second time one of those days if we need to. But, you know, this is something to pass on to your coworkers, and this is something to let everybody know that we are providing this at no cost, no obligation, and you'll have the opportunity for a one-on-one meeting with me afterward where we can talk about your specific situation and your specific needs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. And I think it's invaluable. You at least need to go. And then I know if they want to set up separate one-on-ones with
Mhm.
you, but this is a starting point. You need this under your belt. I think it's great, and you've helped the federal employees, the workforce in the community so much. And I know we focused a lot on it
Mhm.
on various episodes of the show. So fantastic, Barb. And yeah, and this is boy, you have so much going on. You've got these workshops for federal employees and federal benefits going on. You're getting
Mhm.
married. You're moving offices. I wish I had a way or something that I could add onto your plate to do.
Well, you know, if there's anybody that can do it, Tony, it's you. Uh, Actually, you take things off my plate. You make this podcast so easy. And
Some days easier than others, some weeks, but
well,
yes.
you know, I mean, it's the team there just does a fantastic job, and y'all make me look
Yeah.
better than I deserve. So,
Yeah, we have a
um,
good team.
you know, it is our act of service for the community. And, you know, we wouldn't have a country if we didn't have federal employees.
Yeah. Yep, and that's so true, and it is so important. And I really feel, and with all the federal workers have been through over the last couple of years,
Yes. Yes.
it's rough. We've talked about it on the show before. I have family members,
Mhm.
extended family members that are federal employees, and yeah, I mean,
Yep.
my
There
brother-in-law still hasn't found a job after
it's
being
a
laid
roller
off.
coaster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so. Yeah. Well, hey, again, Barb, great show, but give
Thanks.
the where can they go to register for those you have to register. There's no cost.
Right.
The only cost is your time, and it's not
Right.
that much
And we're
time.
gonna
It's worth
have
it.
we'll have a workbook and materials for you to take home with you so
Awesome.
that you've got a reference. You call our offices at area code 913-553-6222 and select option 4. Or if you're thinking about this or you're listening to this podcast and it's 10 o'clock at night, leave a voicemail. We'll call you back. Or if you feel like you really have to email us at info@bgwealthmanagement.com. We'll need you to leave your name, your agency, a telephone number where we can contact you, preferably your cell phone number, and your personal email, because if we try to email you, it may not get through the government firewalls. If we try to reach out to you that way, that's why we ask for a personal email so
Sure.
that we can confirm your registration and that you've got your spot secured. And
Yeah.
you can bring your significant other or your spouse with you so that they
Nice.
understand all of this too.
Yeah, that's important as well.
It
Yeah,
is.
I mean, if you have a partner or spouse, it's a team effort,
It
right?
is. It is.
Bring your husband, bring your wife. I think that's great.
Hmm.
Well, Barb, great show. Speaking of husband and wife, have fun tomorrow.
We
And
will.
and it was great to see you today. Fun recording the show. Listeners and viewers, thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. That does it for today's episode of Anchor Your Retirement with our amazing host, Barbara Goen.
We'll see you soon.